Welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm your loan partner, Tim Lee.
I'm your mortgage coach, Nathan Kerpan.
We have been talking about the 5 big buyer hesitations as we've kind of been going through a number of these podcasts. And the statistics say that in 2025, 70% of people who could have bought a home didn't actually get to the closing table and bought a home for any number of reasons. But there's 5 main ones. And again, a lot of times they overlap. And so even as we're talking through these, it's like, oh, well, there's multiple of these factors that keep people from really stepping into home ownership. And there's a fear. It's probably the biggest purchase you're ever going to make.
Well, yeah, that's why are 70% of people not following through, right?
Right.
And there's multiple reasons, right?
Right.
So
we've talked in a previous podcast about the price of homes. And so there's workarounds with that. Check out that podcast. We've even talked about the contingency issue of, hey, I own this home. I want to put an offer in here.
That's a great episode.
It is. I was there. I enjoyed it.
And I talked about it.
Yes.
It was good.
And so today we're going to talk a little bit more about the rates, because that's always the question that comes up. It's the most often asked question.
I was asked just this morning at the gym, right?
I mean, right. So what's the answer to the question? Yeah. What's the rate at today, Nathan?
Yeah. Well, Coach? What's the rate? Yeah. Tell me what the rates are. Well, I mean, that's the crazy thing. So rates are a wide range of rates. There's many circumstances, 15 different triggers that will even dictate what interest rate you have. But with this young man I was talking to, he's like, well, ultimately I shared with him, I said, well, unless you're being offered a wide range of rates, potentially even rates in the 4s,
right,
you're probably dealing with a McMortgage situation. And he was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, you're probably just given a take it or leave it. And candidly, he didn't even know much about what his financing was. He just knew he was buying a house. He was excited. He was under contract, turning in, doing all the things. And it's very easy to get swept into that.
It is exciting.
And not realize that a mortgage is an amazing financial planning tool for your success, not just a cheeseburger that you're buying like when you go through McDonald's and you're just trying to solve a craving.
Right. Yeah, there's a big difference in the industry, too, of those who are going to take more of a relational approach, like it sounds like you did with this individual, to sit down and have that conversation, versus, you kind of get swept up. You go to an open house. There happens to be a lender there, and the realtor is saying, man, this is the one you've been waiting for. Talk to Coach right here. And Coach is like, hey, just sign on the dotted line here, and it's yours next week. It's very easy to get that going. So then how do we understand what is a good rate? How do we...
Well, it really comes back to just various client stories, right? So we've had clients who are looking at that, and we always bring strategic options to the table. And in certain circumstances, a client the other day, we were able to sit down and show them that wide range. And again, shout out to the mortgage nerd, Denise Donahue, out down in Texas, by the way. One of our sisters in arms in mortgage, serving the world in a great strategic way. Yep. And she's also one of our sisters at Benchmark. So shout out to the nerd, right?
Yeah, well, she had a video that she showed just this last week, and it had, I think you said 16 to 20 different rate options from the high 3s to, I don't even know how high it went. The real focus that she was making was, hey, we can show, and we could even get you a high 3% rate. It's just going to cost you $38,000 to close that.
Yeah, so these, and you get clients sometimes where they've come to me and they're like, well, no, I'm good. I got pre-qualified by some blast-off company online who literally all they did was quote them something but didn't give them any clarity. You're pre-qualified, meaning they took your word for it. No offense, but you don't know how we calculate income and all the different complexities behind that. So never just go off what you've told a lender for a pre-qual, let alone never just trust them just throwing you the lowest rate on the sheet for the day to lock you mentally in as if you've checked a box. And that happens with so many.
Right. And there's such a big difference between pre-approval and pre-qualified. And there's another podcast that you should check out that we discussed that a little bit. But we had another client that you worked with recently, and there was a rate thing that you had
Options.
showed.
We don't
some
show
options.
16. 16 is a little overwhelming.
Yeah,
But we
no, that
narrow
was-
it down generally to 4 in a range, and that can often range anywhere from par to what would be deemed reasonably accessible buy downs that are lower. Okay, and we walk alongside people. Again, we're not serving just regular cheeseburgers here, right? We're serving financial coaching and strategic success.
So tell me a reason that I would choose a higher interest rate.
Well, this particular client, in their circumstance, they had a nest egg, and they didn't necessarily, they had expressed how much they wanted to use, but they also expressed, hey, I've got resources if that can be used strategically in some way for my own, they just don't know what they know, but they lean on us as their mortgage coach and team to help them craft pursuit of their goals.
Right.
And this particular client, when they were faced with the 4 options, they clearly go, okay, well, yeah, certainly the radio tells me to go with this lowest rate, but I don't have to give up my nest egg or a large part of my nest egg to do that. The payment difference, and this is a big deal, right? We hear low rate, low rate, low rate. And the payment difference was very negligible, and they got to keep like half their nest egg,
Right.
just by going with 1/4 to 3/8%, right? 0.375%, slightly higher, to keep a good chunk of their nest egg.
So then in a scenario like that, let's just say the bottom falls out on rates 6, 8, 10 months down the road. What do we do then?
Well, that's the beauty, because, the home you're buying, the right home, the right price, the right location or in right reason, should be your focus, right? That's your singular, most unique, true commodity, right? That's out there, that's a fit for your family. But the loan you get up front shouldn't be your forever thought process. Now, don't get me wrong, be comfortable. Don't go outside your comfort zone in a way that you've got to be house poor. This is not a justification of house poorness, but it is a justification for getting the right home. And we can always change up that financing. The financing is not meant to be forever. We are not meant to have payments till we die.
Right. Well, and that goes back to even your own budget and other podcasts that we've talked about. Taking a fresh look at your budget. It's so important, and so many people neglect it.
Yeah.
Hence where they are financially. But if you don't have a good budget, then maybe you don't have the flexibility of making those decisions.
And we're able to bring a lot of clarity to people, or at least the importance of that clarity. Because we don't necessarily sit down hand in hand with you and line item out your budget, but we have the tools and the resources to help you pursue that clarity. And with that clarity, with the clarity on the different options, with the clarity of the ability to potentially even refinance down the road and restructure that, we've got a lot of great incentives that we offer from time to time, helping families have peace with that opportunity. But ultimately, that's it's just truly how important clarity with certainty is on the financing end, so that when the right home, right location, for the right reason pops, you are rightly prepared.
Right. And that's so important because, again, we're talking about homes. We're talking about the permanence of a home.
Yeah.
And in another podcast, we'll talk about what do I do when there's not enough homes available in my market.
Right.
Well, part of the problem is, what if that's what you're saying, right location, right price, right reason, all of these different pieces, because what if the market turns and there are suddenly homes available, or all of those
the market is always presenting unique challenges,
right?
And that's your constant, right? There's always going to be unique challenges that present themselves and unique opportunities. And if you're not poised with the clarity with certainty that our team at Benchmark Mortgage and the Kerpan Group provide, you're going to be the odd man out.
Right. So, Nathan, I'm a little bit concerned about the rates. I'm just going to wait 6 months and see what happens. And your response is,
why would you want to pay more?
Right.
Right.
And we talked about this earlier. My dad, when my dad was flipping homes way back when, he would always say, listen, prices are too much today. But 10 years from now, you're going to wish that you had bought 10 or 12 of them because the price is going to be
right.
Going to look
and we
so
can all
much better.
look back in a very short window of time and go, man, I wish I'd have bought 5, 6 years ago, 3 years ago,
right,
last year, because that disparagement is significant. Right?
So is that what you mean when you say, why would you want to pay more? Or is it more?
Yeah. I mean, because what happens is there's just not enough homes that have been built. And even in the areas of the country where there are a lot of homes being built, the competition is fierce.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I had one just recently buy a new build in the front of the subdivision that was being developed behind him.
Yeah.
And he got the deal, but he set the price so that they could cascade the next one and the next one and the next one. And as people see that, it just creates, these builders know how to create a feeding frenzy.
Right. Yeah. Where my folks live, they have the a year plus a day that is written into the contracts because they're building so fast and the values are increasing so much that people are contractually not allowed to sell within 1 year of their purchase. Otherwise, they have to give back the profit made because
they're generating the profit.
Correct.
There's a couple different mechanisms there.
Yeah. And that's getting into investing, and that's not really the point of our particular podcast today. But if you are being given a single rate, a single option, or even two options perhaps, like, hey, A or B, there may be some more things strategically that are on the table for you and for your family in purchasing that right home in the right location for the right reason. Right. And so we'd encourage you to reach out to us. Nathan, you want to give them the number and the website?
Yeah, give us a call or shoot us a text at 314-551-9587 or check us out online at benchmarkmidamerica.com.
And thank you for joining us at Coach's Corner.